Why fad diets fail and the truth about losing weight the right way. That's what we're going to be talking about today on the Prosper Nutrition Show. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jason Steves. I'm a clinical account specialist with Perk, but I'm also a professional, nutrition professional at the Nutrition and Health Center. I'm joined by my co-host, Steve Steves, who is a certified clinical nutritionist and naturopath. And today you are joining us here on the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we share with you about health truths, nutrition information to help you prosper and be in health. Steve, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty pumped, Jason. This opportunity coming up for people is something that everybody wants, something everybody struggles with, and we live it out day to day, and we're going to make it applicable so that everybody can join us in how we live it out and
Right.
just fulfill what it says in our mantra, right? That we would prosper and be in health. And what does
Right.
it mean to be in health? Well, part of
Right.
that is what we're going to be focusing on is
Yeah.
maintaining and gaining muscle
Yeah.
and losing fat.
Right.
What is fat? Why do we have it?
Right.
Why do some have
Yeah.
more than others? There's
Yeah.
metabolic factors I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah. So obviously we're talking about weight loss, but as you were talking about, weight loss is not just weight, right? We need to look at the composition of the body to really lose weight healthfully. I think a lot of people, it makes sense to think about that, but they don't realize that the medical approaches to weight loss are
Mhm.
not taking that into account, right? And so
Right.
that's really why we're trying to educate people. You mentioned we're having a class, folks. If you have the opportunity to join us here in Houston, Texas, on Friday, January 10th, Friday, January 10th. It's in about, what is that, 2 weeks from today? Or is that 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Two
2 weeks.
weeks? 2 weeks from
Is it
today.
three?
No, that is 3 weeks. Yeah.
It
So
is.
3 weeks. You got plenty of time to
Yeah.
set your calendar. It's 1 p.m. Central here at our office. We've got a room where we're going to have enough room for about 25, 30 people. And we're going to be teaching you a system for losing weight healthfully and keeping it off. Something that principles that you can use for a lifetime for keeping good health and good healthy weight, maintaining good muscle mass. So we're going to be teaching a lot of great things. But today we're wanting to talk about a certain aspect of this subject. It's really important, and it has to do with the body composition component. Because most people in the medical community, they're teaching about BMI, right? Are you overweight compared to, with your height, right? And then they're giving them chemicals or some things that are causing weight loss, maybe quick weight loss, but it's not maintained because their body is not keeping the muscle mass. So, Steve, tell me a little bit about what your experience is in helping clients at the Nutrition and Health Center with this issue. What's going on with weight loss? What's going on in the medical field? What are they doing when they're helping people lose weight and trying to help people, but it's not really working?
Well, it's everybody's seeing that, but most people will meet someone and say, "Hey, I'm doing this diet. I've lost a lot of weight," but they don't know what weight they're losing. They're just looking at their weight to height and going, "Well, my BMI is lower." The BMI chart does not really give us the kind of information that we can succeed in health. Your weight is distributed in muscle mass, bone mass, water, and in fat mass. And we can measure that with an in-body machine, even where the muscle is distributed, determining your basal metabolic rate based on your calorie burn. That's the number of kilocalories you burn at rest in 24 hours. From that, we develop a menu plan. So that's part of what we're going to be doing in the weight loss system we're going to be revealing, but there's so many components to it. I was thinking about how a church runs today, and you've got deacons and elders and pastors and small group leaders, and you've got people that are involved in benevolence, people involved in hospital ministry, and hospitality. You've got greeters and prayer altar. You've got all these different aspects that make a church successful in ministering to the body of believers, the body of believers ministering to the world. Our
Mhm.
bodies are like that, and there's many aspects within our body that determine how we hold on to fat, how we build muscle. I mean, one of the most impactful studies that looked at a comparing of, longevity. People who smoke are 50%, their longevity is 50% less than those that don't smoke. And those factors we know. But this one is the most remarkable in that people that are inactive and that have low muscle mass are 250% more susceptible to uh, premature death by a long shot over people that have high amounts of muscle mass. A good
Right.
example of that is Jack LaLanne. He lived to age 96 and he pushed himself beyond his limits trying to grab a little bit of fame before he passed the 100-year mark, I guess. But his immune system got weak through all the travels after he wrote a book at age 95, and assuming that's what took him out. We don't have all the details on that, but hopefully that we could find that out someday.
Yeah.
Medical
Yeah.
intervention probably got
I've
involved there.
I've
Uh,
thought about that. I wanted to ask you what, because I've thought about how, like, if we are wanting to live a long, healthy life, what type of tissue that we put on our body will help us to withstand sickness and live a longer life, right? Some people might say, well, it's okay if I have extra fat because if I get sick or if, we, don't have, if we don't have food for a while, I'm able to survive longer. Uh,
that's a thought.
but what kind of state are you going to survive in? What if you had a little bit of excess muscle mass and your body was able to use that muscle mass rather than trying to use the fat instead? Like you're going to have fat gaining as you gain muscle when you do that healthfully. You're going to have a little bit of fat, but that's the healthy fat, right? You need a certain percentage of fat to be healthy. I was looking at those numbers. I think for women, healthy body fat percentage is about 25%, and for men, it's about 17. I believe that's the percentages.
Yeah,
Uh,
the optimal ratios for man 10 to 20, with 15 being optimal in the middle where I'm at. And you're probably a few percent below me because you haven't tested this year, I know, and you're
I
ready to
need to
get
do
back on
mine.
that. But a guy that's as fit as you at your age, it's hard to go, well, I should be testing. And I'm going to
Right.
continue to encourage you because your testimony of how healthy you are
Yeah.
now in your 40s
Right.
is, the average guy in his 40s today can't hold a candle to anything of the way you're living. And that's what we want to impart. We want to give
Yeah.
that on to your generation, to my generation, to the younger generation, how we're designed to function and live a long life without disease. That was God's promise. But he always had an if in front of it in Exodus 15 when he said, if you will hearken to the voice of God and do what's right in his eyes. So if you want to know what's right in God's eyes, you need to look to the scriptures. It's the only book that knows the future. It was God's book that was given to man to make clear his plan from the beginning. You are a part of that plan. Get on board and fulfill his promise. At the end of that passage, it says, if you do all these things and follow after God as he leads you by his spirit and by his word, the Rhema is the living word made alive in you for transforming you. And then the Logos word, also transformational in its way, but there's a literal and then there's an individual personal reactive uh, action of the word for a time and a season for you. And we believe that this scripture, Jason, you may look this up. We've mentioned it earlier. You want to lay aside every weight and thing, an obstacle. Some versions call it sin. And sin, scary sounding word, sounds very judgmental. It's not. It's a word that says you've missed the mark. God has a better mark. And however you miss that mark, maybe you were deceived by a medical drug that you took for years and it caused you to lose a lot of muscle mass while you were trying to manage weight. Or maybe you got some stomach surgery and cut half of your stomach away when you didn't know how to balance the chemistry of food and improve metabolic balance by just dietary practices. And most folks that do come to us with those surgeries, they end up starting to gain that weight again, even after they've cut their stomach out. And then there's more malnourishment that is involved because they don't have good digestion once part of their digestive organs have been removed. There's just so much
Yeah.
that is twisting America's thought patterns and destroying their bodies. And even women, for this is off the subject, but it's on the subject. Estrogen dominance causes cancer in women, and that weakness, a genetic gene, a specific gene, the BRCA1 or C1A gene for women, if they've got a homozygous risk factor or even a heterozygous risk factor, they'll tell women, you need to have your breasts removed and we'll put on some new ones for you. And that just makes a really good profit. And it scares women to think, oh, I can't survive. Well, you can't survive. My wife is one that has that risk factor. Her mom had breast cancer, and I don't know how far she went. She didn't do the chemo radiation, but lived like 35 more years after that, all that took place, where she had that surgical removal of her breast tissue. But what I'm saying is that these chemicals are also a process or a part of the process of why we put on weight with age. Metabolism slows down due to toxicity. So there's a whole section in this information we're providing with our weight loss system that gives you specifics on how to detoxify at the cellular level, at the organ level, at the tissue level, even detoxifying through your skin. We're gonna load both barrels. I'm excited to just get people pumped up about running the race to win this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So fad diets, folks, when we're talking about fad diets, we're talking about stuff that comes in and out of popularity, right? So we've seen it over and over again, different things come in and out of popularity. They put new names on things, right? And what has stayed consistent are diets that are fully taking in natural, healthy foods, right? So usually the diet that we recommend and that is kind of got all the research backing it for health benefits is the Mediterranean style diet. And that integrates so many different varieties of foods. And the way that we do that menu is in different food categories. And usually when people come and they lose weight with us, they're always complaining that they're always full because they're getting plenty of good, healthy foods and they're filling up. They're not,
That's so true.
yeah, they're not starving themselves, they're not going without meals. They're eating well.
Well, we're
And
targeting their BMR, making sure they get adequate energy. We need to always remind our viewers that a calorie is a unit of energy. And I'm sure if we could see everybody's hand out there with a question asked, would you like more energy? And everybody's going to raise their hand.
yeah,
It's the misuse of the caloric intake. I mean, you can go online and look up the Mediterranean diet, but if you really understand the science of how your metabolism, how much it needs, and of which categories, the protein categories, the carbohydrate categories, and then the fatty acid categories, and then the different within those categories, the type of proteins based on the individual, the type of carbohydrates that determine the glycemic effect on your cells. That's the sugar effect that distributes or activates insulin, and insulin excess is a big reason why people have elevated body
right.
fat levels, not to mention
Yeah,
the stress factor. We're going to get into that, and
right.
it's factored with body fat gain. So
So many
let's,
people, when they're doing these fad diets, their body gets stressed out. That's kind of what
yes.
you're speaking to, yeah. And
I didn't even think about that, Jason.
yeah,
That's good that you recognize that. My thoughts are on the fad diets where, wow, they're just wasting away because they're not getting good nourishment. But you're
Yeah.
right. Their body's in stress every day because they're undernourishing. They're
Right.
wasting, they're wasting muscle. And
Mm.
along with that is, your proteins are needed to make your neurotransmitters, to make your hormones. And then they're having all kinds of metabolic shifts in their hormones, neurotransmitters, sleep disruption,
Yeah.
anxiety. It becomes a
Yeah.
mess, and it can
Yeah.
be life-threatening for many
Yeah.
people that go on those fad diets.
Right. Well, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I think this is a really important thing. So people say like, well, there's these people who are doing carnivore and they look healthy and they're very successful, right? And there's these people who are eating one meal a day and they're like really great athletes. And they bring up all these people that are kind of promoting certain types of lifestyles or certain types of diets. And one of the things that I'll say is, look, not everybody is the same. And so some of these people may be doing okay. We don't know. We haven't looked at their biochemistry. We don't know their health markers. We don't know what's going on underneath the surface. But they may look okay and they may be okay. But the when there are exceptions, it doesn't mean the rule doesn't exist, right? And so what the nutrition and health rule is essentially that our body is designed to function off of our food for fuel. And that's what we're designed to do, to eat healthfully. Now, there are moments of our life where we adjust, we have to go longer because we have certain things that we need to do or stuff that comes up. But that's something I wanted to address is like, yeah, there are maybe times and seasons where certain people do different things and they may be doing okay. But the rule that we found that works best for most people most of the time is following a consistent Mediterranean diet, eating regularly about every 3 hours during the day, and maintaining their good, healthy blood sugar with these whole natural foods on the Mediterranean style diet. So that's
Jason,
something I wanted to address. Yeah.
along the lines of what you're just saying, is there a way that I could share my screen with the
Yeah, you
viewer?
can do it.
Okay. I want to do that because I want to share a testimony of a precious woman of God that has been coming to us for quite a while now. What do I do?
I don't know if the sound will come through, but is it a video?
No, just
Okay.
pictures. Yeah.
Okay.
So where do you want me to go on that?
So you
Share.
go to that green button where it says share
Yeah.
and then click.
Oh, full
Yeah.
screen. All right.
Is
Here
it
it comes, folks.
There we go.
Testimony about this.
Yeah.
So
Gwen.
this is Gwen. Gwen came to us. She weighed 252 pounds, 5'3". I believe she was around 58, 59 years of age. Just turned 60. We had worked together for 18 months to achieve what you see here, the before and after. Now, you see the nice shape that she has. She maintained muscle mass without exercising, and that can only be done on very precise dietary accuracy with the right amount of nutrients. So she went through a lot of withdrawal from medications, detoxification, and rebuilt her body. And she got off like 8 medications. Transformation took place. Now, what I noticed during the process, we went about 3 months. She lost 2.5 pounds a week, just like clockwork, perfect. And it was fat each time. But then after 3 months, I said, "Hey, Gwen, maybe you could just take a break. You don't have to come in every month to see me if you don't want." Oh, she said, "No, I need to come. I need the accountability." So it's
Mhm.
like we were talking earlier. When you've got accountability with someone or a group of someone, you're going to succeed. So
Yeah.
we kept pushing on. But I'll tell you that the months where she didn't lose any weight, I mean, it was 10 pounds a month, 10 pounds a month, 10 pounds a month, just click, click, click. 113 pounds later, you see the difference. Well, the months where she wouldn't lose weight, we would look back she was recording everything she needed to because she wanted to be precise.
Mhm.
we saw the imbalance. She cut back in one category, took too much in another category. She went outside the guidelines of the balanced menu plan we had for her metabolism. So there are professionals like us out there that know how to do this. I
Mhm.
think we do it pretty well. We have a very high success rate. And I just want to encourage you folks, take advantage of doing it in a group setting. You'll be transformed.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so thanks, Steve. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
Uh, so folks, thank y'all for watching. Healthy weight loss is something that's achievable for everybody. The objective with healthy weight loss is keeping track of your body composition, right? It's making sure that you're maintaining muscle mass or gaining muscle mass, and making sure that you learn that there may be times where you don't eat, but that's an exception. The rule is building those disciplines, the discipline of regular healthy eating through the day, and following a Mediterranean style diet, doing fasts occasionally, but that is not you got to be careful to stress. You can't stress your body out like that all the time. You have to be good about making sure you're well nourished. So yeah, if y'all have questions, get in touch with us, info@prospernutrition.com. If you want to do an in-body test, we have it at our office. There are in-body tests all around the country if you're not in our local area. That is a good test to take a look at your body composition. And if you want to join us for the class here in the Houston area, it's Friday, January 10th at 1 p.m. You can contact our office info@nutritionhealthcenter.com or 281-440-0024. And you can call and get basically reserve your seat. That we feel like it's going to fill up pretty quick. I think we already have actually 3 or 4 seats filled. And we just
Wow.
launched that sign up yesterday. So it's probably going to fill up pretty fast. If you want to join us, I would recommend you get signed up.
I
But
also want to encourage Jason on the 12th of January, 2 days
yeah.
after we launch this class, I will be launching with Amy at our church, and I believe you're going to be involved somewhat at Magnolia Cowboy Church in Magnolia, Texas. We just have a great family of believers out there, and they've given us an opportunity to share about the principles of health. And so we will begin our first kickoff there on the 12th. It's at 10 a.m. in the morning, Magnolia Cowboy Church. Would love to see you there. It's at the ranch house. It's not at the main building. So the ranch house is pretty cozy. It's got a big open room. We're going to meet in and fellowship in, and look forward to having you there as well if it's convenient for you.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank y'all for watching. If you have any questions, get in touch with us. We're here for you. And we want you to prosper and be in health. God has given us opportunity to live life and live it abundantly. And so we want that for your health. We hope you have a great day, great weekend, and we'll see you next time on the Prosper Nutrition Show. Take care now. Bye-bye.